Crémant isn't trying to be champagne, and once you understand why, it opens up a whole new world of French sparkling wine. We discuss that and more in week 3 of the Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge. And let's hope this one is not a waste.
Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. I am Joel, and you found the best damn wine show out there. And as always, I'm joined by Colin and Aaron. We're back with week 3 of our Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge. And I have to start by asking the question that everybody is asking. Does Aaron finally have a winner, or is it a big whiff? What's it going to be?
I'm real nervous, guys. I'm real nervous.
That's the chatter out there right now, as last week was a pretty strong contender, but the kids are wondering if you have something up your sleeve today, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited and also nervous, I got to be honest with you guys, because I was really stoked about the Best Bang for Your Buck challenge. I thought that was, I was really in my wheelhouse grabbing a Crémant. And then, man, the unthinkable happened. The price of my wine went up about $10 between when I picked it a month ago and when we all bought it this week. It could only happen to me, folks. It's so
that's called
I
the Stop Wasting Your Wine
it's a great
bump.
Deal. Yeah,
People
heard.
They heard we were going to be featured in this.
It was coming. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, it's still a great deal. $35-$40 for a good sparkling is still fantastic.
We'll see,
hold on,
man.
let's pump the brakes. Yeah, we haven't quite tried it yet.
Deal. I'm just saying, getting my sales pitch going.
It will be if it is good.
Yes,
but
yes,
we could be just traveling down the wrong road here.
Hey, you know what? There's only one way to find out.
I agree. Before you start really pitching and spinning everything, can you give us some details about what it is that you brought for us today, Aaron?
Absolutely. So I am returning to a producer that we had some luck with a while back when we had Nat on the show. I brought back Henri Champlieu Crémant.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we had the Rosé Crémant, which we all really liked. And so I figured if we liked the Rosé Crémant, we'll probably like their Brut Crémant. So
fair.
it is from the Burgundy region, which I think is great. Obviously just a vaulted region of wine.
Sure.
And, why not? Why not try sparkling from there?
Yeah, you're not selling it yet. Just tell the people what we're drinking, Aaron.
Sorry, I'm just excited. I apologize. I'm happy to be here.
Sales hat is on.
So this is I looked up what it is. It is 85% Pinot Noir, 15% Chardonnay. It's a 12% ABV, and unfortunately, the price range is now like $35 to $40.
For the folks at home, our show notes actually say 32 to 40 ? Because it might change by the time we're done recording this.
When I sent this to these guys a month back, it was literally $29.99. I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is a tariff bump. I don't know if it's a marketing branding bump from the producer themselves. But it was a bump.
Yeah. Something's going on. Somebody missed a decimal somewhere, and they finally
someone's trying to get me.
Yeah. Well,
you did this, didn't you, Colin?
I did. I actually called a favor from Total Wine. I was like, listen, you guys need to bump up the price for this one specific bottle of wine for the next week.
Trying to
that kind of watch it go down next week,
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah,
I do. And plus, but why would I do that? Joel's one was better than mine, so I'm not even in the running so far. So, what am I trying to have Joel win?
Down there.
I don't know. I don't try to figure out how you think. Just keep it on the podium.
I will be judging this based on the highest price point that we've seen. But all right, let's go ahead. Let's do some first sips. Let's get some initial reactions, guys. Colin, first sip. What's the word that pops into your head?
So I might be doing this wrong, but my initial reaction has nothing to do with the flavor of the wine. But I'm shocked by the color of this wine. It is like almost has a pinkish hue to it, which is surprising for sparkling wine of this style. So just very interesting color.
85% Pinot Noir.
A little bit of that in there.
Maybe it's my lighting. I can't see that, but I'm curious. Interesting. Mine's apples.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So far we have colorful and apples. Joel, how you feeling?
I'm going to say sprightly.
Ooh,
Sprightly.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's either a nice compliment or you're saying it tastes like Sprite and we are off to a terrible start.
I haven't decided. No, I don't. I'm
Now
not gonna
you're
lie.
putting
There's
that
a
in my
little
brain. I'm
influence
like,
in
do
there.
I taste
But-
Sprite? I kind of like Sprite.
Right?
No.
Do you a little? I mean, it's very citrusy. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Sprightly. All right, I like that. Very interesting. Not really sure if we've moved the needle in a positive or negative direction really anywhere. Just very interesting, kind of cross section here on those first sips. Very intrigued by this one. Aaron, before we really get into this thing, why is this the one that you picked for your entry in the Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge?
Oh man. So as I kind of gave away at the beginning, like I really wanted to find something that I had a baseline amount of trust in. I've really been burnt the past couple attempts, putting my faith in the wrong place. I knew we had a good experience with this producer in the past. I knew there was a lot of value in Crémant, so I just thought, good best bang for your buck. I knew we'd get a high quality for a good value, and then like I said, the original $29.99 mark. I was like, that's probably pretty good. I didn't want to shoot too low, so I was hoping. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit higher to try to get that quality up a little bit. And now I am a bit concerned that I'm going to get knocked down a little bit at the cost level. I'm still hoping to find a good bottle, but I'm getting a little worried about the bang for the buck part.
I wouldn't.
But
Don't be
that
worried.
being said, who knows?
Mhm.
Who knows?
Well, I think it's kind of cool that we're going to do a little comparison of a Crémant de Bordeaux and a Crémant de Bourgogne. So that'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference just right from the first sip,
Mhm.
I mean, this is definitely, I would say, of the three, the closest to what I would expect champagne to taste like. So it has definitely followed more in that style where, mine was a completely new experience and Joel's yours was more classic cava.
Mhm.
So, a really interesting comparison, just even of the three.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool to have like these three different examples here. So, all right, we did some kind of first initial reactions, but let's give this thing the attention that it deserves. Let's go ahead and give this thing a try. All right, as we always do, we'll go ahead and see if we can get anything on the nose here. What are you guys getting? Colin, I'll go to you.
I'm getting some citrus maybe.
Mhm.
It's not terribly expressive, honestly. There's really not a ton. Just I'm really sniffing. I'm really not getting a lot, which is honestly surprising based on the first sip, because the first sip there's a little bit going on. I almost wonder if I have like COVID nose here, because there's just not. I'm having a really hard time picking something out besides maybe some minerality and
Mhm.
a little bit of citrus.
Aaron?
It's interesting you say that, Colin. Like maybe you need to go get swabbed, because I remember like a week ago we were talking about, like it was like, oh, you have to dig in there and get it. And I'm having a similar experience, but when I stuck my nose and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm getting like a little bit more apple this time around, and a little bit more of those like green fruits than I have been getting over the past couple weeks. But maybe that's just me. But otherwise, I thought it was the same like minerality that you guys have been pointing out. But otherwise, yeah, like very, very light. Like it's definitely not, you do have to shove your nose in there to get anything. You're not wafting this anytime soon.
You really do. You really do. And you really have to spin this thing around. Like, and when you do that, I think I'm sort of, I don't think either of you are wrong. I think you're both right, but I think the truth lies in the middle. Like it's somewhat there, but I think the last even two, yours especially, Colin, was probably the most expressive. Mine less so, but there was enough to analyze. This one, I think just citrus. Like that's the only thing I can call out here.
Yep.
And I don't think that that's too shocking, right? I think we talked about it a little bit when we were doing mine, the cava, or not cava, but yeah, sort of not crazy surprised by this. Let's drink it though. See what we got going on. There is. See, there's stuff going on in there. Aaron, I'll go to you first. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, it's like a really nice sip. You get I think a really good balance of acidity. It's a nice weight to it. The citrus is really nice. So a lot more like I said, smell. I think maybe the sipping I was doing before was like impacting. Like it's a little bit more appley, I think, than the past couple.
I like the apple call.
I think more than your Crémant.
Yeah.
Like this is a lot more apple.
Yeah.
Centered, which is like not apple juice forward, but like almost in that direction, which I don't hate.
Almost like a cideriness to it, right? Like you get a little apple cidery situation. Yeah.
Yeah, which is tasty. I mean, I'll leave it there. I think that's like the new kind of aspect of this. I would say is the bigger difference than the last two that we've done.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like bruised apple too. It's not like fresh, crisp apple for me, and it kind of lingers on the palate. The one thing that surprises me that's not here in spades is any kind of breadiness or any of that traditional method influence. Like, I'm really surprised that you get very little bit of that. There's maybe a little bit in there, but you really have to go searching for it. Joel, what are you?
I was shocked by that too. And the way I was thinking about it is it's kind of all treble, no bass in here. Like it's all that. It's the citrusiness, definitely some minerality that's really nice, pretty darn acidic. But yeah, I was definitely expecting there to be some toastiness. And honestly, I think it would do very well by this. Like if there was that little undertone, this would be a really nice sip.
Yeah, I'm also surprised. Like this is mostly Pinot Noir. Like if I had this blind, this kind of tastes more like a Blanc de Blanc, which is just 100% Chardonnay. So the color, as I mentioned in the first sip, is interesting, but I don't know if the flavor, any of that Pinot Noir flavor comes across as much as the color does. So, and not to say what's in there is bad, like it's just not very intense what's in there besides the apple. The apple is crazy intense. Like that is definitely the one thing you get. And even on the finish, it's like apple and citrusy. The finish is actually pretty nice. I like the finish. There's a really nice kind of combination. And honestly, that's the one place where you get any of that, traditional method influence, the breadiness. It's just on the finish. And the finish is actually, it's lingering around for a really long time. So really nice finish on this wine.
And I think also like, I would say like one of the things we named for Joel's wine that I would say I'm feeling similar to this. And like we were saying it as like, it's not an insult. And I was trying to name it as like a compliment, as like, this feels like a very unoffensive, accepting, like I would want to hand this to folks as they enter like a space. It just feels like a very inviting, almost go with anything at the start of a night kind of drink. Not saying it doesn't have a personality, like but it's unoffensive, right?
Yeah.
I think there are definitely lots of things out there that have a bigger personality that are going to speak for themselves, that are going to be more memorable than this without getting into the review. But I think that like this has a purpose in being a crowd pleaser from that inoffensive side.
I just the nose to palate difference for me is what really is surprising on this whole thing, and how unexpressive it is, and how much more you're getting on the palate. Like I wish there was some of that on the nose, because again, it's most of that citrusiness and then the minerality, but then there's more stuff on the palate. Again, not terribly expressive, but it is more of an interesting sip than it is a smell.
100%. The disparity is crazy. Or if this was a challenge to find the biggest gap between nose and palate,
Smell and
I nailed
snip.
it. You're a winner.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. No, very true.
Funny you should say next week's challenge, and I will be entering the same wine. You heard it here first, folks.
And just because I've addressed it on our other two, I just want to say very similar, I think, very lively sip on this one, right? Very tiny bubbles, very effervescent, which as you would expect from a traditional method, but it's there for sure. So the mouthfeel is really nice.
I agree, Joel. I think the mouthfeel is one of the most enjoyable parts of this. And to Aaron's point, I think this would be, a great intro to the night because it is so refreshing and vibrant and lively.
All right. Well, very cool and very interesting thing here. I think there's a little bit more to talk about. Let's let this linger for a second. Let's talk about this in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get into some wine drops. All right, so we're drinking Crémant today. Let's talk about Crémant for a second here. Some folks at home might not be super familiar, but some people who are familiar might hear it and kind of go, okay, Crémant, it's cheaper champagne. It's the same idea. They're trying to do the same thing. It's just less expensive. Is that actually what a Crémant is trying to be?
No, I mean, I think that's a problem, right? Like, you get really excited, right? And like some people sell you on that. They're like, okay, like you don't want to spend the money on champagne. So just go buy a Crémant. It's like, this is right next door. And then you're like, you get stoked. You go spend $25 or maybe $40 and you think you nailed it, and you open it up and you pour your glass, and then you're like, oh, what the hell? Like, this is not the same thing. And that throws people off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that difference is kind of the point, right? I mean, it's made in the same way. So there is going to be some natural overlap in flavors. But Crémant's not trying to land in the same style exactly as champagne. So what you usually notice, instead of that really tight, ultra-sharp, acid-driven champagne, is something that's going to be a little bit more fruity and maybe have a little bit more texture. One of the biggest differences is how Crémant is going to feel in your mouth versus a champagne.
Right. So, I mean, and that makes sense, right? Because it's an important thing to like note, especially as we talk more about it. It's like, it's not a downgrade. It's just, it's a different experience, and it's just the expression of, you know, what they're trying to get at. Is just the same method, just, you know, going in a different direction.
It's a purposeful, different experience that uses the same method.
Right.
All right, Joel. So if the method is the same, then where is the difference coming from?
Yeah, and you know, in just like we've seen in many other cases, it comes to the region and the many different things that are going on in the region. So, like today, we're drinking a Crémant de Bourgogne. We talked about how this is 85% Pinot Noir. So we know, you know, being from Bourgogne, it's going to be grown in a slightly warmer climate. This lets the fruit, you know, get a little bit deeper. So instead of just that, you know, kind of citrusiness that we maybe saw in mine actually last week, you get a little bit more of some of the things we called out here. A little bit of the apple, a little bit of the pear. You can find some peach in there even. So similar kind of idea, but different expressions you're going to get from the fruit.
And it doesn't necessarily have to feel heavier, right? It's like more of an open path, right? Like, so champagne is like a very straight line, right? And, you know, and this can spread out a lot more across your palate. So it's not losing freshness. It just, you know, it just gives you just a little bit more to hold on to mid-sip.
Yeah. So with a lot of what we've seen, the region is already starting to shape the wine before the winemaking even starts.
Well, you know, say that's pretty cool, right? Like, if you know kind of what you're looking for, you can like point to the region and start there. You know, gives you a starting point.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, especially just looking at this one. I mean, we know, like, one of our favorite wines that we've had was a Pinot Noir from Bourgogne. So it's not too shocking that the Crémant de Bourgogne would feature the Pinot Noir and highlight a lot of those, you know, flavors. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, and Burgundy is Pinot Noir's homeland. Some of the best Pinot Noir comes from Burgundy. So to have it show up in the sparkling wine is not at all shocking.
Yeah.
Right. And so then once we have our region, then the process itself then reinforces like the direction of the region. So, you know, we still have the traditional method, and so it's same as champagne. And then we get second fermentation in the bottle and aging on the lees, and, you know, nothing's skipped there at all.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's being skipped. There's the traditional method through and through, but the cool part is, because of the region, because of the different fruit, it doesn't taste identical. That's what's so cool. The process can be the same, but because of the other variables, you get this completely different product. They're not trying to sharpen everything. They're not trying to replicate champagne. They're letting the wine, you know, stay a little bit more relaxed, be a little bit more wine from Burgundy, but in bringing that into the sparkling wine.
Yeah, and what you'll usually notice is that it leans into those fruit and the textures instead of that more acid-driven structure that you will find in champagne.
Yeah, yeah. Can I just say I'm happy to live in a world where there are multiple versions of what I think is one of the most fun versions of wine. Like, there's so many different
100%.
ways to experience a sparkling wine, and every little variable, as we've seen over the last 3 weeks, has a huge impact on the ultimate experience, where it's from, what kind of weather it was impacted by, what the process is, what's the fruit. All comes together to make just this really cool experience with little differences here and there and a cool kind of common thread between them. So much to explore and have fun with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Speaking of having fun and exploring, I think we need to go back. Let's try this. Let's explore it a little bit more. And then I'd like to know what you guys think about the kind of vibe this is giving you and where you're going to put this in our reviews. All right, folks, it is review time. And as a reminder on the Stop Wasting Your Wine podcast, we really don't believe in numbers when it comes to rating wine. We believe in the vibe of the wine itself, especially when we're talking about sparkling wine, guys. This is all about vibes. So as a reminder, we have our must shares. These are wines that are exceptionally good bottles of wine that have something extra special that deserves to be shared. We have our solid pours. These are really good wines with really good value. We have our casual sippers. These are enjoyable, but not necessarily memorable. You're not writing home about it. When we find a wine that's overvalued, low quality, or undrinkable, this is just a waste of your wine. And of course, we all have 3 spots in our coveted wine fridge where we can put our favorite wines of the year. If we find a 4th one, we have to take one of those 3 out to replace it. Coveted spot right there. So, with all that in mind, with everything we've learned over these last couple of weeks as we explore just sparkling wine in general, super interested, gentlemen, to hear if you have any other notes on this Crémant de Bourgogne that you want to bring up, and then ultimately, where are you placing this? Aaron, this is your wine, so you will go last, and I am the host, so Colin, I am making you go first.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the learning segment, one thing where we were talking about expectations, and somewhere in there it mentioned peach, which I thought was super interesting because as I went back and as I was sipping it after that, and this is also on the finish, again, the finish is very nice. It kind of tastes like, when you get too close to the center of the peach pit, it gets a little sour back there. It's not quite the sweet, juicy peach, but you get in there, it gets a little weird in there, and not weird in a bad way. It's just, when you're eating the peach, it just tastes a little bit different. It's not as intensely peachy is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
So, but an interesting new note I found in there after a couple more sips. As far as the review is concerned, this is one of the ones, I wish this was the original price we thought it was. This at $40. It's probably not something I'd buy again. This at $30, I would probably buy. This at $25, $20, I would absolutely buy. So is this a waste? No, I don't think it's a waste. I think it's enjoyable enough at $40 to call it a casual sipper. Now, I mean, value-wise is probably not casually sipping at $40, but like wine quality wise, you can't call it a waste because it's enjoyable, right? It's drinkable. There's enough there to get into. I'm enjoying the flavors. I'm really enjoying the finish. Again, I think the finish wins out huge on this wine. It just keeps going and going and going. I did see somewhere somebody gave this wine a 96 points, which is, I think, generous.
Yeah.
But maybe I will say 96-point finish, but I don't know where the other 96 points are coming from. For that, I'm going to have to call this one a casual sipper. And it's honestly what it comes down to is value.
I really, everything you just said got me kind of thinking. Okay. I like what you've said. I am going to challenge one thing. Is this a potentially 96% finish? Or is it that the rest of it is a little quiet? So the fact that there's actually some stuff going on that finish, it makes it fun, makes it enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of my point. The finish is what makes this enjoyable, I think. I think without the finish, we'd have a much bigger problem with this wine, but the finish saves it quite a bit.
100%. And I just, I'm having trouble because I'm enjoying this, but I can't put a finger on why. And to me, the whole thing is a little bit thin, kind of the whole way through, even the finish. I gotta call that out. Like even that finish, like it's there, it's fun, but it's not like I'm not blown away by it. It's not making me forget everything else. But what it's got going on for it for sure is it is a fun sip. I like the citrusiness. I'm putting away the fact that I like a little breadiness in my sparkling wines, and there is zero of that. So if you're if you're like me, if you're a fan of the breadiness and you're kind of expecting that from a traditional method, this might not be the one for you. But if you love that citrusiness and that sharpness and the vibrancy, then this might be a really good option for you. To me, this is a casual sipper for sure. It is, because it is super enjoyable. I've had a good amount of this bottle, but when you said at $25 you would definitely buy this again, I don't know. I don't know if I would. It's enjoyable, but nothing's really like hooking me to bring me back.
So, okay, well, then that brings up this question. So if you wouldn't buy this again for $25, you're definitely not buying it at $40.
No.
So is at $40, is this a waste?
No, because to me, to be a waste, you have to be lacking in quality. You have to be lacking in, just like ability to even enjoy it. And that is not the case here. Like, this is very enjoyable. Hands down, very enjoyable. So it's not a waste by any means. Yeah. Casual sipper for me, really fun, really nice, but I'm not riding home. I'll probably forget about this one in 2 weeks. Aaron, what do you think, man?
Guys, I'm gonna simultaneously like agree and disagree with both of you in a way that you are not going to expect.
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
Oh boy, here it comes.
I am in this really weird place. On one side, I'm drinking the heck out of this. Like I find it very drinkable. Right?
Totally.
It's in that way of like, if I walked into an event and someone handed me a glass of this, it's unoffensive. It has great mouthfeel. It's effervescent. Yep. It's sparkly. The apple is nice and has great, it hangs around. Cool. Yeah, I agree 100%, Joel. The lack of breadiness is weird. If that was there, that would be wonderful. And it's missing that, and that creates a problem for me. If this was the $25 to $29 range that it was originally, I would go as far to call this like even a solid pour maybe, because I think it is like a good enjoyable bottle of wine at that point. But it's $40. At $40, this is a waste of your wine.
Whoa.
Wow.
Because our first thing that we say is overvalued. And if nothing else, I am a man defending my wallet.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I am not too proud to admit that $10 price jump is screwing up this bottle of wine for me. So I will pull myself out of this running, gentlemen.
Wow.
Because I think this is very, very drinkable. But speaking directly to the producer here, what are y'all doing? I hope this was a tariff issue, because this is not a $40 bottle of wine, and stop it. So that's maybe maybe this was a bad batch. Maybe last year's batch was better. But yeah, I'm super bummed. I think when I pulled the trigger on this at $29.99, I think we all would have been a lot. I think that framing would have changed the entire experience possibly. But yeah, no, I know you were both. There was that little hesitance around that. And I do agree. Like, there's hesitance around that of like it's tasty and it's drinkable. But hey, the first thing we have on there is overvalued. And gentlemen, this is an overvalued bottle of wine right here.
Wow.
I can't disagree with that. It's crazy overvalued. But I mean, and I struggle too, because I was also debating whether to call it a waste. But I don't know, it's enjoyable enough to where it's not a waste. At $40, I'll say this, and we tried to smooth out our scale so we didn't have this problem, but we still have this problem. At $40, this is probably a waste. At $30, it's probably not a waste. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So, I don't think that changes my overall view of the quality of the wine, but it is just ridiculously overpriced at $40.
I almost feel like there has to be a factor of, is this the first time you're buying this wine or a follow-up time? Because the first time that I'm buying this, even at $40, I'm buying this, I'm drinking it, I'm saying, oh, okay, this is fine. I'm not going to buy this again for $40. If there was a world in which it's my second time doing that, now I'm just a glutton for punishment. Like, I would not do that. So that, to me, it's like, it's two different visions right there. But that first time, if I'm, feeling, let's go for it. Let's try Crémant de Bourgogne. I'm not mad at myself for going for it, So,
guys, we make the rules. It's our show. We make the rules. If I'm just looking at this from purely an experience of the wine, I think this is somewhere between a solid pour and a casual sipper, depending on what you're looking for in a sparkling wine. I could see people who drink this and think it's a solid pour would love this glass of wine. And I think people, if this is not your style, would probably think it's a casual sipper. No one's calling this a bad glass of sparkling wine. And no one's calling this thing a home run, right? Like it's somewhere in the middle.
Sure.
And if you're looking at this from a value cost perspective, I think it's fair to say this bottle is overvalued. So I think like this is one of those times where we could make maybe two columns and say like it's fair to say like the cost doesn't destroy the bottle completely. If someone hands me a glass, I'm going to drink it. But like they're two separate categories. It's overvalued and it's a drinkable glass of wine.
That's fair.
I like that. I can't disagree. I can't disagree. You know what's one scenario where I would happily spend like $40 on this bottle of wine? I don't know if you guys are having this experience, but all I want with this is a big old thing of oysters right now. Like, I don't know why, but this seems like something about the citrusiness and just how light it is and how acidic it is. I think this would go so well with a big old thing of oysters right now. Anybody else feeling that, or am I alone in this?
It is a great seafood wine. I'm still not paying $40 for it.
Fair.
It would absolutely, it would be fantastic with oysters. I completely agree, but still, I mean, I don't think you could ever get me to pay $40 for this again. So
I am once again shocked by the price bump. The rosé is still $29.99. So again, they bumped the classic Brut, but they left the rosé where it was.
Wild. All right.
And you should check by you because a lot of places carry this wine and it's still $28.99 in a lot of places.
So strange.
Changes a lot.
Yeah.
Grab what you can.
Really crazy. All right. Well, listen, I think we did a good job there. This was a fun, interesting one where we had to really, really think about this and have a good discussion on it. I love when that happens. So if nothing else, we at least really took a moment here to talk about what we were experiencing together, which is always fun. So thank you, Aaron, for bringing that into our worlds.
Happy to once again bring mediocrity into this space for us. I do like that.
This is above mediocre. This is not. I think you've done well. This was a nice submission to this case. All right. So since this is week 3 of 3 of the Best Bang for Your Buck Bubbles Challenge, let's all review the wines that we brought to the table. Colin,
Dulong Crémant de Bordeaux.
I brought the Reventos Conca del Rio Anoia Not Cava. Aaron,
the Henri Champliau Crémant de Bourgogne.
Ooh, 3 very cool contenders. All right, so what do we think? Who won this one?
Yay, Joel. Joel wins again, yay.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree. The Reventos was not only a very good bottle, it was interesting, it was unique, and I think it was a solid like mid-ground price range. Yours was like $24.99, mine was $20. So especially for me, I like that one.
Yeah. I mean, mine was pretty good too. It was up there. It was a tight second, but I definitely think yours took the cake just as far as a more complete wine. And when we're talking about best bang for your buck bubbles, I mean, it fits the category perfectly.
Yeah. I will say, I think, Colin, yours was probably the coolest entry, like the most, most different example.
Definitely.
Aaron, I think yours was probably the most crushable, like really just so fresh and so crisp, like really, really nice. But I'm gonna unabashedly agree. I think mine was probably the Reventos was, people who really, really love champagne are going to be happy. People who love cava are going to be happy. People who just like good sparkling wine are going to be happy. So,
I mean, shout out to the Spanish sparkling wine. Like, once again, like if you're not drinking Spanish sparkling wine, if you're walking into a store and feeling like you have to grab a bottle of champagne or a bottle of Prosecco or a bottle of sparkling wine from Napa because you don't know any better, like check out Cava or check out Cava adjacent, wines.
For sure. Yep. Could not agree more. All right, so much fun, guys. I love these ones. This challenge format to begin with, really, really fun. And I love where we're all coming from on these. So looking forward to next month's as well, which is going to be, Aaron, what is it?
Next month, we're going to find the wine that has the biggest gap between smell and taste.
Hey, wait a minute,
I will
cheater.
be using the Henri Champliau. All right, next up, we have the Don't Drink This, Drink That challenge. Each of us is going to be challenged to find a wine that is a better alternative than the wines we know people are drinking, that there's just something a little bit better than. Each of us are going to bring one bottle of that not great wine, like something like Barefoot, and the wine you should be drinking. And we'll see who finds the best alternative pairing.
Love that. That's gonna be fun.
I'm excited about it.
Gonna be a good
I'm
time.
excited too.
Yeah, I'm excited to drink one of the 2 bottles of wine that we're going to drink each of those nights.
But it'll be a good comparison too, because honestly, when's the last time I haven't drank a lot of that really garbage wine in a really long time. So it'll be interesting to see how bad that stuff actually is.
And it's going to be great to actually drink it next to a slightly, just have that comparison 1-to-1.
Agreed. And that's one of the hallmarks of this show is you don't have to spend a heck of a lot more money to be getting much better wine. You just have to have a little bit of knowledge of what you're looking for, and you can unlock so many great wines and such great value. So that's what this challenge is all about. All right, guys. So much fun on this one. I think it's time we let everybody go. But before we do that, Aaron, I heard that you have a wonderful Pick Your Poison for us to play, so let's do it.
Yeah, I came up with this in the middle of this episode. I was inspired, or I don't know if it's inspiration. I don't know what the opposite of inspiration is, based on the problem with my wine tonight. So pick your poison, gentlemen. Would you rather pay way too much for an okay bottle of wine, or have a very, 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 very cheap glass of bad wine? And let's say, just for the sake of argument, you're at an event and those are your 2 options. You're either going to be able to drink really, really cheap and the wine's not great, or you can pay a lot and the wine's better, but it's not great.
Can I grab a beer?
Nope. Sorry, dog.
Okay.
Sorry, bro.
Okay.
There's only 2 exits on this highway.
I'm probably overpaying then. I'd rather at least somewhat enjoy the wine than just drink really crappy wine. Like, I don't know. I'm not just drinking wine to drink wine. I'd much rather at least slightly enjoy it.
All right.
Yeah, I'd rather enjoy the wine and enjoy my morning the next morning. So yeah, I'll take that slightly better
100%
glass of wine. Thanks. Yeah, Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I think 20 year ago me probably would have gone the cheap route. Probably would have been real excited about those $2 wines or whatever terrible scenario I just set up for myself.
Sure.
But in this case, I'm probably gonna pay a little extra. And based on that, I am now upgrading my wine as a must share for the evening and taking the crown. So thank you.
That's
wow.
What a sneaky little way to do that.
Also, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. That's how it works. Okay,
The judges have
okay.
declined
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for your offer.
Yeah, that was good.
Maybe
That was
next
good.
time.
That
Maybe
was
next
good.
Sorry.
Well done. And look at us for growing up in our wine drinking. Love that. Yeah, there was a time where we would have taken that cheap wine. Love it. Okay, very fun. Hey, listen, week 3 of 3. This was a lot of fun. Am I the first back-to-back winner of the challenge series in Stop Wasting Wine? Yeah, I am. Am I going to celebrate that for the rest of my life? Yeah, I am going to do that. Does it feel good?
Listen,
yeah, it does.
Happy for you.
Thank you.
I think we can all agree, even before we started doing the challenge, Joel knows how to pick them. I don't know what it is, but he got it.
I know what people want. I do. And I'm going for that three-peat. I want three.
Ooh.
I want the turkey, and then I will relax a little bit, but I'm going for it.
I appreciate that.
So much fun. Thank you guys for your contributions. Thank you, listener, for hanging out with us, for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you're digging the new kind of format of things here. Next week, we're going to have a really fun interview. So tune in. And then week after that, we'll be getting right into our next challenge, the Drink This, Not That wine challenge. So going to be a lot of fun. Hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, Colin?
Sure. Give it to me.
If anybody wants to hang out with us, how do they do that?
Yep. Check us out on the gram. That's where we like to hang out. If you want to send us an email, cheers at Stop Wasting Your Wine. And if you'd love to see our smiling faces, YouTube, Stop Wasting Your Wine. Smash that subscribe button.
Smash
glad you
that
said
subscribe.
that. So proud of you.
All right. And just thank you so much for listening. Tell a friend. We'd appreciate it. And then just tell yourself to be back here next week, too, for another great episode of Stop Wasting Your Wine. And in the meantime, just remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.